All right. Shalom. Giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And what I want to do today is go through a few things regarding what's going on today as far as the so-called anti-Semitism. And we're gonna see what's going on. So because a lot of our people don't really understand history, and I was one of those people as well. So when I came into the truth and realized who we actually were, I've done tons of research. You don't just come into what we consider the truth and just say, watch one video or listen to one person and say, okay, yeah, that's who I am. Nah. We all do research. Other than scriptures, we base everything off of the history in the scriptures, because the Israelites themselves left a lineage, just like the Ishmaelites left a lineage. You can go in almost any gas station, and if you see an Arab in there and if you ask him, are your people from Ishmael? They're going to say yes. You can go to or speak to someone from Afghanistan or India and ask them, do your people come from Elam, the man Elam in the Bible? Is that your descendant? And they will say yes. Everyone knows who they are, except for most of the people that are raised on the Western Hemisphere, because this is just a ball of confusion. That's one of the reasons why we call this Babylon, because I believe that etymology of that word means confused or confusion. So I just want to read one scripture first, which will be Hosea chapter 3, and I'm going to jump down to verse 4 and 5. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. This is future prophecy. That's why it says latter days. When it says David their king, it's talking about who most people call Jesus Christ, and we call him Yahweh Shai. Some people call him Yehoshua, because he is a son of David. He is the King of Kings, right? So in verse 4, it's telling you that the children of Israel in the latter days will abide many days without a king, a prince, sacrifice. Without a sacrifice, they stopped sacrificing because the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. Right? Without an image, the children of Israel, whoever they are, right? I think I know who they are, but whoever they are wouldn't have an image of their Messiah, which means that the image of the Messiah that's been painted around the world, which is a whole nother topic, another video, would be wrong, would be a lie, right? And without an ephod, meaning the ephod is something that the Levite priest wore. So without a Levitical priesthood, without a priesthood, right? So this means that these people will be lost, basically. This is what Hosea is prophesying here. They will be lost. They wouldn't have a culture. They wouldn't have their own names. They wouldn't have a way of life that is their own, right? Because they were following the heathens. They were looking to other gods, which it says in verse 1, right? So first, I want to do is go into the etymology of a few words that's been thrown around. Today, how can I say, the other hand that is in control, they use this word anti-Semitism. And if you remove that word anti, you have the word Semite, right? So the etymology of the word Semite comes from the Hebrew Shemite, right? So in the Latin or Greek, I'm going to read this. It says a Semite. This is a etym online, which is an online etymology dictionary. If you don't know what the word etymology means, it means the beginning of a word. What it does is shows you the origin of a word, when the word started, how it was used, how it was actually said, what language it was in at that particular time when it started. All right, so that's etymology. So the beginning of this word, it says in 1847, a Jew, Arab, Assyrian, or Armenian, and apparently isolated use from 1797 refers to the Semitic language group. So during that time, they were using Semitic as a language group, right? It says back formation from Semitic or else from French Semite, 1845, from modern Latin Semita, from Latin sem, Greek sem, Shem. One of three sons of Noah, which is in the book of Genesis, regarded as the ancestor of the Semites in the Bible-based anthropology from Hebrew Shem. In this modern sense, it is said to have been introduced by German historian August Schlosser in 1781. Now, my other video, I went into where some of these quote unquote Jewish people descend from, which is the Khazars, the Khazar nation. Is something that you won't really find in many history books, but if you look for it, you can find it. It's actually in their, I showed it in their own Jewish encyclopedia. Right, so let's go down to the word anti-Semitism. All right, it says not etymologically restricted to anti-Jewish theories, actions, or policies, but almost always used in this sense. So that means that Jewish theories, actions, policies is what, if you're going against their theories, actions, or policies, then you're considered an anti-Semite.
Or called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust.
But wait, if we go back up to Semite, it says Jew, Arab, Assyrian, Armenian. And if you know anything about the Bible, you know, it tells you, of course, that there are many Shemitic people or Semitic people. So Jews aren't the only Semitic people. As a matter of fact, Jew, the word Jew simply just comes from the tribe of Judah, or living in the southern kingdom during biblical times or ancient times in the land of Judea, the southern kingdom. There were three tribes at that time: Judah, Benjamin, and parts of the Levitical priesthood or Levi, living and calling themselves Jews, or Yehuda, Yehudi, Yahawada, because there was no J, right? So let's get that out the way first. There was no J. They were using the letter Y, okay? But we're going to just say Jew for now. We're not going to go into all of that. So my thing is, I wanted to show that these people, or Semitic people, these Shemites, these Southern Kingdom Judeans, had an appearance, right? They had an appearance. They were real people, right? So I like to go into literature that is maybe a couple hundred years old or so. That way it's not watered down with the modern terms. Because if we look up the word anti-Semitic today, which I think Kanye read in one of those interviews, he was reading the new term. The Jewish people changed the definition. It's not the definition that I just read, the original etymology of the word. It actually says people who are against who create conspiracies that the Jews own everything, run the media, run Hollywood.
What was that? All right, so it says, think about it, that sounds like the type wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Okay, it says, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
How can they just change the definition of words to fit their narrative for this time period? You see that? Let's see something. I looked at this word a long time ago when I was first coming into the truth. The word ghetto, right? The word ghetto. And it was interesting because I heard someone say this, that ghetto means the place where the Jews reside. And I was like, wait a minute. But the people calling themselves Jews today, or Jewish, they don't live in no ghettos. So I think they were rebuttaling this particular person on a video, and they said, well, Hitler put us in ghettos. And I'm like, okay, so why would you guys let the United States, if the Holocaust was this bad, right? Why would you guys let the term ghetto be used at all in the place where you live and you want equality with the quote unquote minorities as well? Why would you let them use that term on us? Ghetto. That doesn't really make sense. So let's look at the etymology of this word ghetto. It says in the 1610s, part of a city in which Jews are compelled to live, especially in Italy. And we're going to get into Italy in a minute. From Italian ghetto, part of a city to which Jews are restricted. So this had nothing to do with Hitler. This is in the 1600s. So who was living in Italy in the 1600s that was restricted, right? The various theories, here we go, trace to Yiddish, get, deed of separation, a special use of Venetian ghetto boundary. There was one near the site of that city's ghetto in 1516. A clipped form of Egitu, Egypt, from Latin Egyptus, presumably in memory of the exile. Presumably in the memory of the exile. The exile was when Moses marched the Israelites out of Egypt. That's what that's talking about. So there was a ghetto in Egypt. Basically, that's what they're saying, right? Or they were calling this Egito a form of Egypt, which we know that Egypt really means between a rock and a hard place. Sounds like a ghetto, right? The word Egypt is a Greek word that means between a rock and a hard place. So, I'll keep going. It says, I'll read this down. It says, extended by 1899 to crowded urban quarters of other minority groups. So it was extended or given to Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, who are the minorities in the U.S., especially Blacks in the U.S. cities. In 1899. 1899. It's almost about close to 50 years before the quote unquote Israelis, or those Polish, Khazarian, Germanic Israelis moved into the land of Israel by the Balfour Declaration. As an adjective by 1903, modern slang usage from 1999, ghetto blaster. So they had to put that in there, ghetto blaster. That was a radio in the late 80s with a cassette player. All right, so let's we see that this etymology started in the 1600s for ghetto. I just want to read a couple of things here. First, I'm going to start with this is a book called Africa. Hold on, let me go back up here. An accurate description of Africa. You can Google this like I did. We're going to move down to page 34 because I'd rather you look things up yourself. All right. First, well, after I read this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something else that's in the Bible. All right, so page 34. Many Jews also are scattered over this region. And we know that the prophecy in the Bible, if you read Deuteronomy, it tells you that the Most High said he would scatter the Israelites among all nations to the four corners of the earth. All right. Okay, many Jews are also scattered over this region, some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the river Niger. Well, let's go and get that out the way first, because this was a Greek word. It's not pronounced Niger. Let's look at the book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 1. I'm going to read it first. Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch. If you go to chapter 11, it'll tell you that Antioch was the first place that they were called Christians or followers of Christ by the Romans. Now, there was a church that was at Antioch, certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger. But let's see if that word Niger is really pronounced Niger. And it does make a difference for people who will say, well, what difference does that make? All right. So I'm going to click on the word Niger, which we pronounce it Niger today. All right. Let's see what the Greeks pronounced it as.
Strong's G 3526. Niger.
Right. So the Greeks pronounced this as Niger. The same way that it is pronounced today as a slur. or a byword. As prophecy states, we will be called bywords. Nigger equals black, surname of the prophet Simeon. And also it says black, nigger, a Christian, nigger. So when they call the prophets nigger or a Christian, they were calling them nigger as well. The word nigger meant a Christian. The Romans called them that, which means black. So let's keep reading this excerpt from this book. I believe this book was wrote in the 1600s. Like I said, we go back a few hundred years. We like to do research. Many Jews also scattered over this region, some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the river Niger. Others are Asian strangers who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian, which we know that's 70 AD, when the Roman occupation took over the land of Judea and kicked out all of the Israelites, mostly Jews, from that region, and also enslaved a lot of them. Or from Judea, wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, and Christians. Now, when it says Christians here, it's not talking about Neger Christians. It's talking about basically after the Romans took over Christianity, the Roman Catholic Church, those Christians. Or else such as came out of Europe, whence they were banished, out of some parts of Italy in the year 1342, out of Spain in the year 1462, right? Italy. So there were niggers living in ghettos in Italy, right? What does it say? Italy, especially in Italy, right? Most of them were kicked out of Italy, right? Out of France in 1403, out of England in 1422. These all differ in habit and are divided into several tribes having no dominion, though both wealthy and numerous. Now, I don't know why they say wealthy right here, but we'll just keep reading. But despised of all nations. Now, who on earth is despised by everybody? Let's keep reading. And so abominated by the Turks, that they are not admitted to be Mahometans unless first baptized, and then no otherwise made use of than to receive their customs and gather in their taxes. Right? So this book is showing you that there were people living on both sides of the river Niger, or what we would say today is Niger, right? But it was named after those people. If you actually look for it, right, they were black. Now let's further prove that. This is a book called A New Voyage to Italy, with curious observations on several other countries as Germany, Switzerland, Savoy, Geneva, Flanders, and Holland, together with useful instructions for those who shall travel thither. That's the name of the book. And this book was written in 1650 to 1722, published in 1739. So it's a very old book. And I had to go to this website to actually pull it up so we can read a little bit of this. Let's further prove that, right? There's Italy again, right? Let's start with now back in this book it said that they were baptized, all right? They were only to be Mahometans, unless first baptized and then no otherwise made use of than to receive their customs and gather in their taxes. So you see that? So people took the customs of these niggers, right, that lived in some of these places and were kicked out of some of these places, and they were baptized or forced into what we know as Roman Catholicism. And then they took their customs and then they made them pay taxes. So let's see what this book says as well, right? Let me see. Might zoom in one more time. Okay, that's good. That's good right there. And I got this from a brother named Benaiah online on YouTube. He has some real powerful stuff, a lot of sources. And I shout out that brother. So let's read this from here, okay? The author of La Roma Santa affirms that the Jews stink and that their noisome smell vanishes after they are baptized. Cosa Marav, well, this is some type of Latin right here. This sentence, I'm not gonna read that. I know not why this should be reckoned wonderful, for those who are to be baptized are so carefully washed and cleansed that they must needs become sweet, though they really stunk before. But 'tis ridiculous to imagine that the Jews, as being Jews, have a peculiar smell. The Jews at Rome, which is in Italy, are very poor. So that's why I say I don't know why that thing said that some of them were wealthy. Those who are poor are always nasty, and those who are nasty usually stink. That is the mystery. 'Tis also a vulgar error that the Jews are all black, for this is only true of the Portuguese Jews. Let me read that again. 'Tis also a vulgar error that the Jews are all black, for this is only true of the Portuguese Jews. Who, marrying always among one another, beget children like themselves, and consequently the swarthiness of their complexion is entailed upon their whole race, even in the northern regions. But the Jews who are originally of Germany, those, for example, I have seen at Prague, are not blacker than the rest of their countrymen. So that means that there were German Jews, real Jews, who were swarthy or black, because that's what the word swarthy means. I think that's a German word that means black. They just weren't as dark as the Portuguese Jews. See that? Because it says they are not blacker than the rest of their countrymen. So I just wanted to do this video just to show you why some of us know what is going on. That Kanye did say what he said because the Jews are black or dark or different shades of brown. No one, I don't think, is the actual color black, even though there are very dark brown people who almost look black. But most of us are different shades of brown, in which the Romans, Edomites, and the Ish, call us black. The Arabs also called us black, like Kadar. And you can find that in the Song of Solomon as the tense of Kadar, because Kadar was a dark Arab, was a very dark Arab, and he was a son of Ishmael. So Kadar is used as a word for dark color. And it shouldn't even be about color, it's about lineage. So the things that they teach us in the West, or they taught us in the West, you have to understand why the Ish or Jewish people, I really don't want to use that word in this video. It might get dumped down somewhere because I'm saying it and because they paint the narrative for everyone. You can't really have a freedom of speech. But to tell the truth, when they've controlled the publications, they control the publications of the educational systems in this country, at least, for a long time. A very long time. Those publishing houses are usually run by Ish. Anything that can go into your mind. If you listen to the radio, they own the first radio stations. If you watch TV, they own those television stations. When the internet started popping, social media, the biggest social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature are owned by those people. So where was the lie that Kanye told? There was no lie. He was telling the truth. Where was the lie? There's no lie. The liars, I don't know why they won't just own up to it and say, yeah, we own that. If you asked black people, no, you came up to me and you just said that you guys run the ball on the football field and you jump higher on the basketball court than anybody else. Do you think that black people will be like, that's anti-black? Hell no, we wouldn't say that. Why would we say that? We're gonna say, yeah, yes we do. So when Kanye or anyone else states the Jewish people own the central banking system, the credit system, Hollywood, radio, publishing companies, newspapers, anything with propaganda. A lot of them started some of these hospitals. Our doctors, our lawyers, they control the biggest law firms in the world. Most of them. I mean, a lot of them, not most, a lot of them. So, and a lot of them are psychologists and psychiatrists. Why would they say that's anti-Semitic to say? What are they hiding? What you hiding from? Just say, yeah. Own up to it. Yeah, we do. So I'm gonna leave the video off with that. I just wanted to bring up these few points. If you are interested in anything, you can always message me. I just wanted to bring that stuff out, man. Yeah, you know, I didn't know any of this until I came into the truth, until I started keeping the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, until I read Deuteronomy 28 and recognized that those curses fit just us. Just reading these two books, these two old books from the 1600s, proves who we are. Those were cursed. The curses were on us then. You know, look into your history. The Most High Spirit is in the earth right now. It's supposed to. This is the end times, the latter days, like Hosea said. The prophets, when they prophesy, that those things have to come to pass. A lot of prophecy has been fulfilled over many years, and we are in the latter times. The awakening has begun, and we don't know where we're going or how it's going to happen. You know, things change instantly. A certain place called Babylon the Great will be destroyed in 1 hour. So stay vigilant. Calm Yasharala. Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh.
Navigate my life every day, and you justify it by serving your own purpose, which I honor. I would like the same respect in return, figuring out just like anyone else. So please keep that same energy when we're talking about anti-other things. Because just because I posted documentary doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic. And doesn't mean I'm automatically standing with everyone that is believing in it. So it's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth, because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth. And I'm proud of who I am. Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I study. I know the Oxford Dictionary, you look it up, right? One of the biggest mistakes I had in being a kid was not knowing European or Western language. Until I started looking it up and understanding the definitions and why they say, if you want to trick a black person, put it in the book. I was wondering my whole life why they said that. Now I'm 30 years old and I know reading is a superpower, because it helps me understand where I'm going and where I come from. It's like a tree with roots.
I read the documentary listed among the falsehoods. It said the Holocaust didn't happen. Do you believe the Holocaust
Those falsehoods are unfortunate. And it's not that I don't believe in the Holocaust. I never said that. Never, ever have said it. It's not come out of my mouth. I never tweeted it. I never liked anything like it. So, the Holocaust in itself is an event that means something to a large group of people that suffered something that could have been avoided. No one said we had to practice racism. No one said we had to treat each other like garbage. No one said that I had to stand here today and understand that many people that come from generations 60 years ago, 40 years ago, enslaved some of my ancestors still, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and it's still going on. And you guys are asking me, respectfully, to speak on something that was a documentary that I had nothing to do with. I didn't make it. So, just please keep that same energy when you guys are addressing me.
Kyrie, what record do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
Again, I'm gonna repeat. I don't know how the label becomes justified, because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not gonna turn into a spin around cycle, questions upon questions. I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I think what people want to hear though is just a yes or no on that question. Yes or no?
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.